retired from broadcasting to pursue a public speaking and consulting career. He has been conducting seminars and training sessions for over 10 years. He has worked throughout the United States and Canada. Terry is a Rotarian, a Toastmaster, and his hobbies include singing in the church choir, hunting, and fishing. For Terry, the A stands for attitude. Please welcome the Attitude Doctor.
But I'd like you to do me a favor. Now, for some of you, this will be easier than for others. I want you to think back to third grade. Third grade, because it's generally in third grade when, for the first time in our lives, that school teacher says to us, what would you like to be when you grow up? And how many of you here this morning remember what you told that third grade school teacher? But more importantly, how many of you here today, show of hands, are doing what you told that third grade school teacher you wanted to be doing? Show of hands. Nobody? That means you're all in your jobs by default. And it's your fault. And we're going to do something most unusual today. I'm going to share with you today how to write a prescription. How to write a prescription. And this is an unusual prescription because it's about what's in your heart and what's in your head. So I have to ask you, how many of you here today, show of hands, are morning people? Show of hands, morning people. How many of you are not morning people? How many of you aren't sure? We started asking that question about 4 or 5, because there's people, but this is an interesting time in our history, because we have the greatest generation still working with us. We have the Gen Xers, the Gen Ys, the baby boomers, we got the entitlements, and we just bring all these people together in the workplace. We expect this to just work. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, where you work with, sometimes people come in the morning like this. What kind of day are we having? We're having an okay day. Oh, hell, I guess I can do it. Or maybe this is happening. They come in the morning like this. Don't talk to me. I'm having the worst damn day of my life. And then you say, well, when did that happen? When I got here, shut up. Didn't you hear me? Or maybe this has happened, and I apologize in advance, but you're sitting on the edge of the bed and you say to yourself, oh, shit. Not today. I got 13 days of sick leave. I have 4 days of vacation. I'm sick. Now, how many of you here today have children or have ever been a child? Because this attitude thing is all about the child within. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can be 3, you can be 13, 29, 40, 89. It doesn't matter. Attitude is all about the child within. And so the question you want to ask yourself, and it's a question I think people ask all the time, is my attitude worth catching? Is what I bring to work, to community, to family, to friendship, is my attitude worth catching? Or is it something that's not? How many of you here this morning have ever flipped off another human being? I don't need a show of hands. The finger. I mean, you people, you guys are educated, intelligent people. You can get benefits. And you flip people on the finger. Now, you're all going home, right, today? So here's what you do Monday morning. When you're getting up and getting ready to go to work, and you're just getting showered, and you're standing there naked in the bathroom, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and flip yourself off. So you get a sense of just how stupid the finger looks. So mind you, I'm the oldest of 5. My parents are packed and leaving me. Because I had a good job. I was going to college up on the Iron Range in northern Minnesota. And it was at that point I realized, God, I've never been away from home. I mean, I got to go to Farmers Union Camp for 2 days at Lake China. I got kicked out. My mom reminded me when I got home that the nuns said I'd be the first altar boy in hell. But needless to say, I was the oldest of 5, and it was that day that I realized, oh my God, I'm going to college. I won't. So I remember I took that last test spring break. I drove all night long. I couldn't wait to get home. I spent 10 days at my mom and dad's grocery stores. They had 2 of them. And I did anything they asked, never complained, never whined. And it was Saturday night before I was supposed to go back. We were playing Monopoly. My dad required that everybody play Monopoly and learn to play it well because he was a capitalist. You got to understand the value of a house and a hotel and how to cheat your siblings out of money. And so mind you, we're playing Monopoly, and he comes bouncing in the house, and I mean, he was like flying, and he's as white as this lab coat. He said, "Where's your mother?" I said, "Well, she's upstairs." "Up the steps." Up the steps. He said something to my mom, and she screamed. She screamed the way that only moms do it. Came back down those steps, reached for that keychain, threw it at me, said, "Take care of the stores, your little brothers and your sister. Your brother's been in a car accident." And so that night, my mom and dad followed the ambulance to what at that time was St. Luke's Hospital in Fargo. And my little brother spent 13 hours in surgery that night. Then he spent the next 6 years of his life in a coma at St. Francis Nursing Home in Breckenridge, Minnesota. And I wish I were able to come here this morning and tell you that he lived, but he didn't. Jimmy died. At the time of his accident, I was 19, Jim was 17. At the time of his death, he was 23, I was 25. And Jimmy was my best friend. We shared a bed together as little boys, a bedroom together as we got older. We worked side by side, mom and dad's grocery store, rodeo, motorcycle. He was a student manager on our basketball team. We went to state. Jimmy was my best bud. And so the attitude vice presentation that I share with you good people this morning is dedicated to Jimmy and the love that he and I had for each other in those 17 years that we got to spend together. So I tell you, I've not always been like this. I'm not. And so I remember taking a rose off his casket the day we buried Jim, and I made a promise. That I would be nice all day, every day, to everybody for the rest of my life. And that is the motto of which I live. And I want you to think about that for a minute. Today is what? Friday? Okay, so don't start Monday. Think of it as yeast, okay? Let it ferment for a while and let it rise for a couple of weeks. And then start, be nice all day, every day to everybody. It's not what happens to us in life that defines who we are as human beings. It's not what happens to us in life that defines our character as human beings. It's how we react